Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Seraphic Deliverance, episode 27. I am Mother Mary of the Second Coming, and I will present to you an episode that kind of has a lot of information I only just found out, so it's like everything's new. Hopefully I can last till the end. I'm on my 4th day of fasting, water fasting, of course. And just having the Eucharist, and I'm starting to kind of fall apart at the moment. Not so much in terms of energy perhaps, but more like I'm aching in places. And last night I couldn't even go to sleep because my left shoulder was so stiff and not letting go. Obviously drinking more water will probably solve the problem, but it gets boring after a while. So I'm just going to start with the prayer for evangelization. It's I guess not too long, but I have not composed this one. It was given to me, and I had to edit it. You wouldn't believe, but this prayer had Masonic stuff in it, so I had to cut out the crap and keep the rest, because it's 90% good, but there was one line that was off. So yeah, interesting. I find the infiltration everywhere. So here goes. As the seed grows silently in the earth, may your power, Spirit of God, be at work in us. Like a city set on a hill, like a lamp shining in the darkness, may we witness together, calling our brothers and sisters to the glory of the light and the peace and the justice of your kingdom. Our Lady, Star of the New Evangelization, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I will read my explanations again and again so that people know, just in case they drop into just one video and that's it. So doing the cross sign on yourself is a symbol for heart-mind coherence, which obviously comes from the Lord and comes from the Eucharist. So it's all connected. Everything has a meaning. In the Catholic Church, I do not promote any other churches because none of them are exactly standing as upright as the Catholic Church. And another comment I have here, I'm just copy pasting from other previous episodes because some of the information needs to be repeated a lot of the times so that it sinks in with whoever's listening. So the human ascension starts with Catholic baptism, weekly confession, and daily Eucharist. The Lord's mantle of protection awaits all his prodigal children. So that's just explaining where I stand with everything. Like I said, I am Mother Mary of the Second Coming. I am the Mother of God. I am the mother of the Second Coming Jesus. I know the future. I know a lot of stuff. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I was not born with any memory of my past lives. Yes, we do have lives, infinite lives. Some people, well, especially Catholics, they like to think that they only have one life and that's it, they're done. But whatever I film, whatever I talk about is usually quite important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. Some of the information I share, I do that for the reason of me cementing information, because it seems that the Lord he's guiding me, of course, but everything I'm studying is becoming more and more complex, even though it's all based on the same foundation I already have. So even today I had to kind of slow down, step back, and question things that I wasn't even sure if I will figure out, so but I did figure that out. Sometimes the Lord just gives me like a sentence in my head and I understand it exactly what it means, and I'm like, wow, that's it. And a lot of the times it's just me researching. So it's research. I can't believe I reached the point where I'm doing what Marina Jacobi was doing years ago. Just research. because we do not have the knowledge we need. So it's any knowledge you have is foundational for more. But if you're not looking for anything, you're not going to get anything new from the Lord, because He will know you're not ready, because you're not looking, you're not searching, you're not doing anything. Even Catholics, who's looking for anything? Nothing, no one. So I received this prayer for evangelization, and I thought something's not right here, because I was studying today about the sentence I removed, and I'm so glad I noticed the error, because otherwise I would have passed it on through my video. So yeah, it's very tricky. I mean, even if I'm not paying attention, I can easily insert errors in anything and everything I'm doing. So yeah, I have to really be careful with everything. I don't know. It's a journey. So obviously, I'm not saying I'm completely conscious, because I'm not myself at the moment. Because myself is literally a seraphim, which is the highest creature. But to get there, it will take a lot of effort from my side. So, like I said, I was given this prayer by the married deacon that I met last week on Friday, as part of the initiative started 2 months ago by some bishop, I think. I don't think it's coming all the way from the top, but I don't know, I'm not sure. So that's why I put a question mark there. Then I said, but having studied for this presentation, I decided to remove one line from it that connected to sin. So yeah, it's mind-blowing, the little details. It's Masonic, and sometimes even if it is not Masonic, the person who inserted it, who created this prayer, if it's unconscious, again, you shouldn't be praying it. So yeah, it's apparently this little tiny leaflet is really tiny. It's just like a pocket size. It goes to people who want to be part of praying for the expansion of the church and interceding for people. Although, I don't know. Yeah, it's about calling people back to the church, or new people. So I thought, very interesting, isn't it? But I picked up the phrase last minute as I was about to type it, because it said the word East in it. So I thought, what? So the Lord let me literally finish typing up everything and being completely done. I don't want to do anymore. To then notice, as I was scrolling at the top, I had no prayer. So I decided to just copy this one, because I was given it today, you know. Everything's so funny, because it's like it's happening exactly according to the Lord's plan. And you wouldn't even notice it, but I am noticing it. So I started copying the prayer, and then I saw, as the yeast rises in the dough. And I thought, oh my word, I've been walking around with this piece of paper for a day. It's been on my desk today, and I did not notice it because I wasn't ready to read it, and perhaps I didn't even need to, because I would have not recognized the yeast problem. So if you remember, if any of you have watched Cinderella, the new one, I don't know if it's the latest, but it was quite nicely done. I don't even know what year, 2014 or something. I don't even know. Anyway, when they're trying out Cinderella's shoes on, and they're even going to this old baker lady, and she's saying, because she plunked herself on the table and then took a stinky shoe off, and then they were trying to get to her, but they smelled her foot, and her excuse why, it's the yeast. Obviously, that was a metaphor. It was not. Your feet don't stink because you're eating yeast. It's a metaphor. It's a reptilian metaphor. It's a Freemason metaphor, because yeast is symbolic for sin. So it's fascinating. It just popped in my head right now. So I'm telling you that if you read between the lines, if you're interested or want to know, understand how the Lord works, you have to see the darkness as well, because He sees the darkness and He knows how to repel it. So anyone who runs away from knowing the dark side, you're lost, because you can't tell the difference between truth and lie unless you know both, and choose the truth. So this is what I remove from the prayer as the yeast rises in the dough. Um, the Lord pointed out to me today that yeast is a symbol for sin. The Eucharist does not have yeast in it because it's symbolic. Eating the Eucharist, symbol for the Lord's flesh without sin, is a symbol for leaving sin behind. That means no yeast, no sin. So I had to learn that today because I didn't know, never heard of it. So, like I said, it's all new to me. So this whole episode was like, what am I doing here? I didn't know this, I didn't know that, but it's adding up, of course. And I'm sharing it with you just in case you come across it and you manage to read between the lines somehow, if it's useful to you. I don't know. It is to me because I almost shared a prayer that has a line that states, suggests that sin will rise inside people, because dough is symbolic for a body, just like the dough the Eucharist is made of, which is the body of Christ, is without sin. That's why it doesn't have yeast in it, right? So it all makes sense. But I didn't even expect to see that line in the prayer. I was like blown away. And it's funny how this initiative of saying this particular prayer started only 2 months ago, which was what, May 2026. And I was told something about May 2026, something to do with Ascension, but I had not figured anything out until now, until 4 days ago, that I have to take the Eucharist every day, not eat anything, So this is my Ascension. My Ascension started 4 days ago. So yeah. What else did I say here? I was typing up this message and I received a download in the form of ringing in the ear. I wondered what it was. Of course, I never know what it is until it happens. I think this is it. The prayer was last thing I added, and I was thinking to myself that my mind is so quiet. I think it was because I was meant to notice the Masonic infiltration in the prayer, of course. But obviously, these people who are offering to say the prayer are actually invoking the demonic. Can you believe it? Just with one line, as the yeast rises in the dough. It's so creepy. It's just like everything I'm looking at is so invasive. So obviously I'm gonna have to talk to the deacon, because you will see that I actually gave him a blessing today. So I don't know if that's what it was for, so that he can be open to what I have to say later on, because obviously he's the one who passed on this prayer to me, and I have to make him question that line now. It's like it's a never-ending story. It's problem after problem after problem. I might put it in writing because there's a lot of detail and I don't like missing out on stuff. So I'm just going to kind of send the email and see what he says about it. I'm sure he will answer. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, somehow I have to deal with it because this is happening all over the church, all over the world. So if this line is translated in every single world, every single country, every single language, and everybody's praying that the yeast, which is sin, is rising inside their dough, which is the body, that is, yeah, not good. But all these little details, I don't think anybody pays attention to them, which is obviously the truth. And because nobody studied this at this moment in time, I received it as I finished studying, you know. And it's so weird. The timing is just so perfect. And obviously, nobody else is studying what I'm studying when I'm studying it. Um, and yeah, I don't think many people are actually offering to do this prayer, but whoever is praying for it, it could be at least 1 million souls on the planet or more. Who knows? I don't know how many countries are in the world. Yeah, so it could be quite a few souls praying this prayer, which is not good. And then I created this image because the prayer was addressing me as well, because I am the lady, the star of the new evangelization. And look at me, I am actually correcting the prayer, which is so weird. So I didn't know this was a title of mine. I never knew. I never heard of it, but it does make sense because I'm the one who has to crush the serpent's head. Um, and just me addressing this line is the same thing, crushing the serpent's head. Um, so I noticed that I chose this picture because it had the Merkaba at the back. See the Merkaba, two triangles? They're kind of expanded because I wanted the picture to fill up the whole space, which is the size of my desktop. um, so I usually tell the AI to clear the picture, make it, I don't know, sometimes I change colors because this mantle is supposed to be more blue, but it wouldn't change it for me, so I just give up. I do appear with one mantle that is kind of more green or turquoise, but that was like an apparition from, I don't even know, year 500 or something. Spanish, American Spanish people, I don't know, something like that. So I didn't mind keeping it because in their society it symbolizes royalty. So um, but in most of the rest of the apparitions, the mantle is actually blue or dark blue or black sometimes even. Yeah, so it depends because it symbolizes a message. So black would mean sadness or danger or war, and I would come and let them know that they need to pray or something like that. And if they do listen, then the war shifts away from them. So, which is interesting because sometimes people just receive psychic messages that tell them to not go in that direction and stuff like that. So yeah, it does happen, and it did happen. I just don't remember location or what the event was, but when that apparition with Black Cloak happened, the results were good. So people did pray. So what else? Yeah, so I did say about the ringing in the ear. Yeah, so I noticed the writing in Latin on the picture, and then I copied it over. I Googled it because obviously I didn't know what it means. Let it be done unto me according to your word, which is from the Bible, of course, when Gabriel came and delivered the message. Next picture. My gift from the Lord, a washer. I woke up to this. I went in the kitchen and found it. Funnily, I didn't walk past it just like that, or maybe I did a few times, but then I saw it and picked it up. And I thought, huh, that's cool. And I knew it was a message from the Lord. Obviously, these things don't make sense to anybody else, but I was in the right frame of mind to actually accept it as a message. And then I had to look into what it could mean. Obviously, infinity, the circle, God. Um, that's the simplest one, but I was thinking of mechanical stuff. I'm always about the practical side. Um, so yeah, the practical side is actually even more interesting because it symbolizes protection, strength, support, unity, foundation, uh, peacekeeping, which is, it's all me. It's describing me here. Hidden service, yeah, me on a hidden path. Yeah, the Lord already told me all of these. So they're kind of repetitive messages in little, I don't know, little things he's throwing at me. Strength in small things. So yeah, it's interesting. So even this line in the prayer that I will never say if I pray this prayer, um, it's it will state that I'm stronger and I know the difference, so it will be strength in small things, which is interesting because when I received the washer, I didn't know what's linked to. And then I read the information, I Googled, and then I thought, nice. But then as the day progressed, everything kind of piled on and everything was kind of related to it. So it's always a build up of knowledge, and it's happening in real time. And today I'm tired. It's been so much. I've done so much research and I had to chop things out of the presentation and go back and forth, change images and stuff like that. It was exhausting because I'm interested in everything and I have a hard time kind of just sharing 10%. Probably that's how I should put it. So this was the gift from the Lord. I found it on the floor this morning. It was not there yesterday or whenever, or I was completely blind to it. I don't know. I'm alone with my cat for the next month or so, which means that no one has come and gone in my presence around the house, so there's just nobody. I'm mostly focused on daily Catholic Mass to receive the Lord's flesh and blood occasionally. They don't always give the wine, so it depends who's doing the Mass. So depending on who is serving, yeah. Plus writing all my content and generating AI images, plus the research going into everything. So yeah, it's full-time job. Actually, 2 full-time jobs because I can literally sit at my desk the whole day, which is 12 hours, you could say. So because I knew the washer is an in-between piece, so it's kind of like fitted in between 2 pieces, kind of like butter or mayo in a yummy sandwich. I had to find out what other symbols it might have. Obviously my English sometimes is funny because it's not perfect. I'm always editing, rewriting, and if I have to write and then read what I've written, but sometimes I don't do that. So yeah, there you go. That's my English. I mentioned mayonnaise because I like it, and because I had mayonnaise fall on my left hand a few days ago, and it was in the shape of number 6, and it was very visible, and I could not ignore it. So I said, "Oh, 6, what is that?" 6 is obviously unity between soul and spirit as well. So it could have meant just unity between me and the Lord. Spiritual, of course. And I only just thought of that because I revolved around the same concepts that a lot of the time I dismiss them. So yeah, it's just a Merkaba. Yeah, the flag of Israel. After reading the AI's link to things and even Bible verses, I concluded that perhaps the Lord wanted me to deal with 6 court cases since then. I had the pirate priest, the neglectful mother. I have shared it yesterday, yes. I was given a deacon who is dying or something like that and needs a life extension to reach new earth, perhaps. I don't have these details, but something was off with him and I could tell. And that makes 3 people, 3 cases. So I'm halfway there, maybe. Obviously, 6, like I said, it could mean anything. It could be union with the Lord. It could be 6 cases before the arrival of Saint Joseph in my life, because he's my husband to be. So everything's so complex. My brain keeps slowing down because I'm not eating. So I'm trying to kind of well, that was funny. Why did it jump? Oh, I know why. Because this program, if you go over the tabs, it switches by himself. I don't have to press on the tabs. So yeah, it's funny. I'm glad I thought about what it was. It's episode 27. So I meant to speak with the deacon today, fingers crossed, I actually did it. But because I was typing in the morning before the mass, I was just looking forward to dealing with it, because the Lord kind of made me think about it on repeat, because I do that because I'm a Scorpio, and when I lock onto something, I just keep on repeating it to myself, which is weird. I don't think I'm broken or anything, but it's kind of like Scorpio fixation. It's like, I don't think everybody has this, but I kind of have to focus on switching off. I don't switch off without focus. So it's weird. But it's kind of good for the mission, because being the mother of God, it means I'm the guide of humanity, and I'm constantly dealing with everybody on and on and on. And that means I have to go, 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 go continuously. So I don't need to switch off from that. I just need to get on with it. So I think that's why the Lord chose me to be born in when I was born. Yeah, so as a Scorpio. So and I like to get rid of things. I don't want to keep them on my mind, especially if they're stressful, because I do get stressed about talking to people, because I'm usually rejected. So yeah, I just thought I must do this. So I was just saying, the mass is in an hour, fingers crossed. I said that twice, look at it. So I was definitely stressed. The reason why he's worthy to receive a gift is because he's the one who served the first Catholic Eucharistomy. And it was a momentous event because it marked the beginning of Mother Mary's ascension to heaven, which is me. Catholics speak about this event, but they do not understand it at all, because it's been portrayed as me in flesh 2000 years ago, going up to the sky. So I thought, oh wow, so everybody's programmed to believe that. They don't understand anything. But the Lord on the cross said, behold your mother, and he left Mother Mary in charge of humanity, and she had to embody a few times per century. And it's been what, 20 centuries? Yeah, something like that. So you can imagine the disappointment if I tell any Catholic that I'm Mother Mary. They'll be like, yep. Because they're programmed already to believe something that's not true. I've been all the saints, and I haven't finished the job. So, but they know me from the perspective of being in a quantum state. They do not associate me with the saints. They do not associate me with being alive today. So it's kind of sad because I'm invisible. I can't convince anybody of my identity, even if I tried. So now the court case, the Lord's Washer court case. I call it Washer because you will see why. I guess that's why I was given the washer. Yeah, there's a lot of detail here. I'm just gonna have to try my best to read. So I just got back from partaking of my 4th Catholic Eucharist, 4th fast day, because it's important to not eat so that I can mutate my body faster. But I still feel like there's too much going on. There's too much information, too much, and I feel I feel like I owe the Lord everything, I owe him. Like I really have to do his will, whether I like it or not. And yeah, of course, that's his influence and his wish. But it feels like it's so much. And I'm probably reading the future as well at the same time, because it is true. I have to deal with many people, millions. And it feels like I've not started anything, and I feel like there's nobody around. I need some support. It's not going to happen for a while. So I'll try my best to continue. Because it is a Monday, there were only about 10 people in the church. I had issue again joining in with the wording because no one had books out. And it was not like Sunday or Saturday vigil when more people are present and the sermon is an hour long. Because people actually do have books then, and yeah, it makes a bit more sense. So the whole event was done in about 20 minutes, and it was run by the married deacon in question that I was going to have to talk to. The Lord wanted me to speak to him, and he impressed on me that I should do it today. So I waited for him to be ready to leave. He saw I waited for him, so he gave me a card with a prayer meant to be used for those who offered to intercede. So I can pray at any time, apparently anywhere. This initiative was presented to me by the Lord, so I can have a link to him. So do you see how the Lord is linking? He's given me a washer. He's given me the opportunity to link to the priest talking to him yesterday, so I can talk to him again today. And probably I have to talk to him tomorrow. It's like 3 days in a row. And you need to know that 3 is very important to the Lord. I cannot skip a day and ignore everything. So that's why I'm saying it's heavy on me. It's snap, snap, snap. If you don't do it, you get chopped. That's the feeling I got. So and because I accepted it, I was able to receive the next step, which was the blessing. Yeah, I had to give him a blessing because that's what the Lord wanted me to be there for. And apparently also the prayer, which I just talked about, which had yeast in it. So if I hear the word yeast again, all I'll be thinking about is sin. That's what it symbolizes. Because I see symbols now instead of physical things. So I no longer think like a human anymore. It's all symbol, 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 symbol. The whole reality, the existence revolves around symbols. And the devil knows them. It knows everything. That's why it's so capable at dragging so many souls in hell. Yeah, it's a pretty dangerous existence. So I said the Lord wanted me to speak to him, and he was okay with it. He literally grabbed a chair and he wanted me to sit down next to him. So I thought that was perfect because I was worried that the blessing could have made him dizzy or whatnot. I told him about the clues the Lord gave me to point him out for everyone else. What? Oh, yes, from everyone else. So the Lord was kind of telling me that he was standing out. He was important. So his microphone was not working, right? So these were the clues. His mic not working on the first day I arrived. If it was not working before, it doesn't matter. It was just when I arrived that was important because I witnessed it. I'm the one who has to execute. So my opinion matters. I'm the one who observes. I'm the observer, right? Linked to not being able to have a voice or not being loud enough or not being able to speak up. Anything related to this speaking of truth topic. So anything to do with that, it was the mic. Okay, so his mic was not working. He had like interference. I should say interference. I'm hoping I'm spelling right. I don't have a spell checker on this program. It was supposed to have it, but it doesn't. So I observed his voice a bit faded and slow, and maybe coarse or something like that. I should say that. I think that's how it's spelled. No idea. His skin having protruding blood vessels. It does have a name, rosacea. Rosacea. So a beginning of rosacea. Most people expect this from older people. So when I see it, I do not expect anything. That's illness for sure. Caused by blockages or some form of acid. Always an acid. So you do need to understand that when I'm reading your body, I'm not joking. I'm right. Boldness, again, acid. Not a lively person, but attentive, cooperative. So again, he was not like he was not like the super excited type. It was just more like calm, patient, serious type. But obviously he had other problems: skin, baldness, voice, and microphone not working. So I thought something's wrong. Plus he's a deacon and he's married, so he's not properly. He studied the doctrine, but he's not a priest. He's not a virgin. So um, already from that perspective, guys, original sin. That is a problem as well. Okay? Because original sin will invite other things in because you're already mixing with other people and you're kind of agreeing with them, and whatever the problem is, it can be transferred to you because you're not conscious. There you go. So everything I observed wrong about his body was connected to drinking coffee. Unbelievable. How did I find out? Because I was talking to him, right? I just told him what the Lord wants. And then it was a conversation. So we did sit down for a while, 10 minutes probably, which he confessed to be drinking at noon. He said it's decaf, but it doesn't make any difference. It's the same effect, still dries you. He said he has never had health problems before. Obviously, you're not aware of them, but they're happening. The reason why people are not aware of them is because the body shifts energy and compensates every time you have a problem, which is pretty much all day, every day. But after a while, it runs out of minerals and you're screwed. And that's when pain starts to come up because the shift is not happening anymore. And if you're drinking coffee, the body's dry inside. So it's quite extreme. So I had to advise him. So yes, health problems are accumulative of bad habits like drinking coffee, and we end up in pain when the body simply cannot compensate energetically anymore. So I reminded him that the Eucharist is the Lord's flesh, who is immortal. I don't think he tied things together, and because he was kind of in a funny mood when I mentioned that, because the priest in him kind of spiked. So I was like, well, I can't teach him much. And that it is meant to help extend our lives. I did say that. But when I talk so much, people do not actually take in everything I'm saying. They might take 10%, which is sad because talking to anybody, I have to speak in like one paragraph and I'm done. That's why when I show up as a manifestation, like anybody would call it, in a quantum state, my advice is usually short to the point, and I just give you like a tiny little sliver of information. But because I'm not in that state, I don't know when I'm going to see you ever again. I don't know if I should give you everything now on a silver plate. So I usually end up talking forever, sharing, right? Which is what I always do. So I mentioned the transubstantiation and that the Orthodox do not believe the Eucharist miracles and think that Catholics are faking it to draw attention. I don't think he knew that because he was like, blank, blank. So I was like, okay. Because he didn't know what Orthodox think and he suggested researching. And I said, well, I already done it. Here's the result. The Lord wanted me to pass on info on drinking cucumber smoothies every day, every hour or so, and to no longer drink coffee because it has a drying effect on soft tissue. He also mentioned his wife is scheduled for a hip replacement. I was like, oh my God, being chopped open to put some garbage inside you. I asked if she drinks coffee as well, and he said yes. There you go. There's a problem. On and on. It's because your flesh is no longer viable. It's dry. So you're dying. All from coffee. And everybody drinks it. Happy days, right? I never drank coffee. The only time I tried it, my heart would not stop beating. I thought I was gonna die. And it took many hours to stop. And I thought, oh my God, I'm not touching that ever again. It felt like I was dying. That's how hard the heart was pumping, because it was obviously trying to circulate it around the body to get rid of it. But it took hours, forever. I can't even remember, like half a day or something. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die, and I was I don't know how old, 20 maybe, I don't know, 18, 19. Um, and I kept putting sugar in it to make it taste better. And I was given a whole bloody mug of it. I was like, I can't even touch this. So that was good. So the Lord protected me. Um, so I could not advise on hip replacement. So I didn't even go in that direction because the Lord didn't tell me anything about hips and things. I was like, sheesh, this is getting complicated now. He did allow me to give him the blessing the Lord had for him. I said a tiny prayer while I placed my hand on my right hand on his head because I'm right-handed. So I thought to myself, such a docile man. That was my thought. That was literally my impression. Compared to the drunken hazard from yesterday. Yeah. So if you haven't watched that episode, enjoy. He said thank you and asked me if I am part of a mission, as well as if I have a mission. And I said yes to both. He wanted to know if it's from back home, and I said the Lord came directly to me, so there's no group involved, pretty much. So I told him about my top-down Kundalini activation, but I didn't call it that because there was a picture behind us, and I noticed it, and it was the children in the school were trying to portray the Pentecost, and the one I noticed was like, whoa, this is exactly why what I experienced, fire, or you could say just anointing or body upgrade. And it was triggered by the Lord asking me to divorce, and I said yes. So I told him all of this stuff so he understands where I come from. Then I received gold light, loud sound in my head, vibration in every cell of my body from him, the Lord. He wanted to know if anyone else is part of my mission. I said I am by myself now, but I will have a kingdom spouse because I'm starting to use the other people's way of saying things. So kingdom spouse was, I don't know how old, a few days old, because I never heard of it before. But I explained it's a virgin marriage, and that the Lord wants me set up kind of like a priest would be, because the Catholic priests are virgins. So, and then I explained here the same way Peter was 2000 years ago because he was widower. So it's interesting because I have been married, I even have kids, but the Lord can still erase the past like he did with Peter. And Peter was the foundation of the Catholic Church. He died on the cross. So he died to establish the church, just like Jesus died to establish the church, just like I have to die, and I have died many times. I was Saint Joan of Arc. I died burned alive. So whenever the Lord needs somebody to be sacrificed, it will most likely be me. All the 12 apostles, which is Mother Mary and the other 11 male apostles, are versions of me again from the Arcturian perspective, because the Arcturian race is all me. But I'm apparently, Mimi is the only one that is master alchemist in the 12th density. So it's complicated. I won't even go into it to explain, but I'm just saying there's no one above Mother Mary. That's the easiest way to put it. So the blessing I spoke sounded something along the lines of this. Heavenly Father, we are here to accept your gift of health so that we can reach the destination set out by you. I literally cannot remember exactly what I said. I'm so weird sometimes. I included the fact that I was happy in the prayer, that he accepted the Lord's gift, because sometimes I have to, because it's me speaking from my perspective, and it's my prayer, and it's my hand on people's head. I've never done that before. That was the first time I've done it. Nothing happened, no tingling, nothing. And maybe I wasn't even supposed to do it, even though it kept coming to me. It is, as I was going to bed, it was all I could think about. When I woke up, that was all I could think about again. So it must have been what I'm supposed to do, but I expected more to happen. So probably me making this contact was half of the step. So I don't know if he'll be getting upgraded. He needs to hear what I have to say about that prayer. So maybe that's what's blocking it. Because yeah, I really did expect to feel something in my hands or something like that, or for him to get dizzy, because I know that's the case when other people have done it. Because I watched a video on YouTube once and I thought, wow, this is interesting. And I linked it with that. It was a teenage girl in South America, and people would come to church to her to be touched on the head. And some of them would faint, some of them would cry, some of them would try and run away from her. All kinds of things like that. Like I said, the devil has power over your motor skills the more sinful you are. Because even drinking coffee, it's a sin, right? But people don't know. And this deacon was drinking it. He said he only drinks it once a day at noon. And then he also said is decaf. And I said, never drink it. It doesn't matter if it's decaf. It doesn't matter when you drink it. So yeah, I'm hoping they will implement something from what I said. I don't know if his wife will ever be the same again if he's having a hip replacement. The problem with people is that they're dehydrated, and they did look shriveled up, both him and his wife. Plus the coffee. So that's compounded problem of dryness inside the body, which is why the soft tissue does not regenerate properly. And of course, that's also aging and death. But yeah, I can't give everybody everything because it takes forever, and sometimes they switch off while I'm still talking to them. You can kind of see them drifting, you know, like they're not there anymore. My mouth was dry the whole time I spoke. It felt like it was a desert. I think it is because I'm fasting, which is true, and perhaps because I was made to feel like he feels from drinking coffee, which is also true. It does damage the mouth and every tissue it touches on its way out to the body. And the body actually takes a very long time to process coffee, which is unbelievable. You wouldn't believe. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 days to process one coffee. And what do people do? They drink coffee not just every day, they drink it a few times a day. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine that. Yeah, you're walking dead if you do that. Well, I can't help you. I mean, I'm meshing it, but it's your action that needs to change, not mine. So I also told him that people I am dealing with are called by the Lord peg leg. So that was on our way out of the church, which means they are somehow unwell or not walking on the path set out by him. So I give the example of the priest involved with the Freemasons, even after he was warned multiple times by me. The deacon knew about the problem with the Freemasons and how they are trying to take the church down. So it was interesting. He's obviously a little bit more, informed. I don't know how much he knows about the Masons, but I'm pretty sure no one has as big a picture as I do, because we're talking about a different universal race here, the reptilians, which were created by the Lord to serve, but they refused. They're the snake in the Garden of Eden, right? So the Garden of Eden is just the universe, the living universe that he calls heaven, and the snake is the devil or reptilian race, which is a creature 3 meters tall. Some of them have wings, and they're hybrids. They hybridize intensively because there's no other way for them to live, because they're below the universal baseline. So they're not receiving life from God. So they maintain themselves with the blood from creatures who are fallen. So they're blood drinkers. Vampires. Yep, they're here and they don't look human. Of course, some of them are hybrids, so they have human body but reptilian soul, and that's the harder part because they are called Freemasons. So those guys might not be drinking blood and eating flesh, but um yeah, it's quite tricky. They still do horrible things to people, they cheat on them and steal their money, or they attack or kill, whatever. Yeah, they're horrible. So you need to stay away from anything to do with the Freemasons. The Lord just reminded me of the fact that I told myself that I should see myself in the garden walking with him. Because when he took me out of this reality last year in May and plunked me in a garden walking with him, um, I could not tell why I cannot reach it as a reality now, like a physical reality every day. I didn't even know what it truly meant. So only now I know, 14 months after it happened, it means to be the Queen Shepherdess, guiding humanity and going from glory to glory. Again, this is his words, glory to glory. Yes, in a nutshell, but the details are crazy because I had to actually walk the path to get to the Eucharist. That's what was missing this whole time. So yeah, complicated. I'm just gonna move on. So much to talk about. After I got home, I realized that the washer did not apply just to my role in the human race and universe, but also to the fact that the deacon and his wife both had the same problem, the hip. So it was affecting their legs. They are peg legs, both of them. His wife reached the point of no return because she had a hip replacement planned, which is so creepy. I just don't want to hear. I can't even advise these people because they're so absorbed by receiving care from the psychopaths. What you call doctors of today, they're not actually, they're reptilians. So, sorry. Or henchmen, because humans can become reptilians. That's the problem. You cannot ascend your soul from earth unless you side with the Lord and not do the reptiles favors and stuff like that. So it's kind of complicated. It's very complicated, actually. Baptism with water, Catholic baptism, is the first most important thing for you to do. And then comes the rest, obviously. I talked about it at the beginning. He was obviously in a slightly better state, meaning he didn't need a hip replacement yet. And I did think that I kept thinking cancer. That's what I was thinking. But I didn't want to say too much because he started talking about what he knew. His hip was hurting. So I thought, okay. Because I didn't want to put thoughts in people's minds and worry them even more. But he said he's going to the doctor to talk about it and take it from there. So I thought, yeah, that's good. But it doesn't mean they'll fix you. It just means that they might give you pills and shit that will destroy you even more. So I don't even know if I can help these people because I'm an outsider. They believe in their psychopathic doctors that destroy them with pills more than anybody else. I'm just new here, and my opinion doesn't really matter to anybody, so that's the problem. But obviously, what I had to give today was a blessing. I don't know what that's going to do, how to build on that, no idea. It was more of a physical pre-tail. What am I talking about here? Yeah, he was obviously in a slightly better state, and I did think that the two, so him and his wife, were mirrors of each other when I first saw them. So that's what I thought in my head. They were mirrors, which made sense. It was a physical pre-tail, not at in-depth and knowing their illness. But in my mind, it was mirror. So they both had hip problems. And you have hip problems a lot when there is some sort of sin. So I don't know what happened because I can't budge in too much. What I said already was quite enough, I think. So I said both are tall and slim in appearance, but I also thought she was his helper. I kept thinking that, but I don't know. I don't know if that is in any way relevant. Perhaps something important will take place in the future after the flood and she will help him, but I don't know. Or maybe if he gets sick, and she'll be there to protect him, take care of him. I don't know. No idea. Whatever I was told to give, I gave. I don't know what else I can do. I can't promise anything. I hope that my intercession had the desired effect. I always feel like I wish I could advise more, but I don't always know what that more is. I did, however, create an image way back with me and the Lord and everyone's hearts linked to us, and it is eternally valid for the ascending human souls. So whatever I'm doing is literally to link hearts, to link people to us, me and the Lord. We are the king and queen of the universe. So we're just here to help everybody, pretty much. And I said here, 1 Samuel 16:7, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Yes, I agree. But as a doctor, I do have to read the bodies as well. I have to read illness signs, not how ugly or pretty they are, which is what this verse is referring to. So yeah, it's levels and levels of looking at stuff. What are you looking at, you know? And then I moved on to washer symbology because I thought it was cool. And I pasted it here so you can see it all. A washer can symbolize several ideas depending on the context. Support is it distributes pressure and helps support a joint. And here we go. There's a joint talk there. So yeah, the whole thing is so, you know, going back to hip replacement. I'm so not impressed. Protection, it prevents damage to the surface beneath a bolt or screw. Cool, right? Stability, it helps keep parts firmly in place and reduces loosening. Yeah. Keeping in place. Yeah, so it's all to do. If you look at all of this description from a spiritual perspective, then you understand a bit better. It's literally talking about me and my role. That's how I see it, of course. Stability keeps things together. Strength through small things, which is interesting. Though tiny, it plays an essential role in holding larger structures together. Unity, its circular shape can represent wholeness, continuity, or eternity, which is cool. Foundation, it provides a reliable base for fastening components securely. Peacekeeping, which was an interesting one. By reducing friction and wear, it can symbolize reducing conflict or tension. So I thought, wow. But I don't know how that works with me. Conflict with the Lord, I would say, because yeah, that's it. Yeah, intercession for people will kind of reduce conflict between them and the Lord and help them return to Him, sort of. So yeah, it does apply. Hidden service, again, me, it usually isn't noticed, yet it is vital, representing humble but indispensable service. So hopefully I've done something today. I mean, I know I tried, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. From a Christian symbolic perspective, a washer could also represent a faithful servant whose quiet work strengthens the whole body. God's protection, shielding people from unnecessary harm. There you go, that's me. The importance of every member of the church, echoing the idea that even the slightly least important parts are indispensable. There's a verse here, you can look it up. The unbroken circle of God's eternal covenant because of its ring shape. And then I added to that Merkaba, union between soul and spirit, because that's what the circle brings to a creature. Unity, right? And that's Merkaba. And that's why this picture was meant to be used elsewhere, because I changed my text. And then I said, you know what? I'm keeping it because this is about the people and this is about my work, and I'm supposed to connect people with the Lord. And that is the Merkaba. And the sun is rising as well, which is me. I'm the dawn, the new dawn. And obviously, if you are involved with me, you are part of the chosen people, right? So I thought I'll just keep it. Um, and then it was funny because he gave me this comment, and I thought, do I keep it? Do I not? And then I decided to keep it because it said, I was talking to the AI, and that's where I got the definitions and things from, suggestions. Um, but I only said washer, so it didn't. I didn't explain what kind of washer. So then it said if you meant a washing machine rather than a metal washer, it would more naturally symbolize cleansing, renewal, purification, repentance, or being made spiritually clean. And I'm a confessor. And if people don't confess to me, I can spot what's missing. So this um, man confessed coffee. So yeah, that's good because it led to a better conversation because I had a context. Um, Obviously, if you kept everything to yourself and never commented on anything I'm saying, I would have never known. I could have never directed the conversation better, and you might have never even taken on any of my comments. Would have never changed any behavior. So that's what I'm trying to say. Communication is important because I am representing the Lord, and I do have a lot more knowledge than most people. And that's how everything starts. It's just a relationship. I mean, just take what you can from me. It's free. So I left this comment because all of the above goes hand in hand with what I'm doing. My work is meant to bring the Lord's divine children closer to Him and not miss opportunities He has for them. Obviously, not knowing that you're in sin, like drinking coffee, is a sin because you're destroying the body. No one's attaching it like that. I'm telling you, it's serious. And that implies purification and renewal. So this was me helping with purification and renewal today. Because if you remove coffee but add cucumber water, that's the purification I'm talking about. And it does renew the body and you feel much better. He was in pain. I didn't even know until he told me. I kept thinking cancer, and I might be right. He could have cancer, and I can reverse that as well. And I've already given the solution. No coffee. Yes, cucumber. It's the same. It's just because the body needs to change, recalibrate the pH. Like I said, the signs he had were from too much acid. And if you have cucumber and lots of water, that will switch your pH, will bring it up. But it takes time. It takes weeks, months, years, depending on how much you're expecting to achieve. But if people do not apply a single word I said, it's all gone to waste. I mean, I tried. So yeah, I can't control. I mean, I was talking to a grown up. I expect them to get on with it. And if they have more questions, I can always answer. But usually people do not come back to me at this moment in time because first of all, they never ask for any advice. So they're very goofy in that way. They're like, oh, no, I'm not interested. Well, but what happened today was a lot better than yesterday. Yesterday was just conflict, being sworn at and in my face and alcoholic man and stuff like that. So yeah, today was a better day, but I dealt with a lot of new information, which kind of brain dead me. So this process also applies to me. So this sort of diet change and stuff. At the moment, I'm not eating anything, but I'm drinking water. I'm trying my best to stay as reliable for the Lord as possible through fasting, Eucharist, and my writing, so that it's keeping me busy in a way. Because otherwise, I would have nothing to do. I can't go hiking anywhere because if I'm fasting, my muscles will cramp up. So yeah, I just haven't got much to do. So there's this Bible verse, Colossians 2:19. And the comment was holding fast to Christ. So yeah, hold on to Him. I'm trying to help you guys to stay closer to Him, And that applies to biology as well. It's not just pray, pray, pray. Obviously, connecting to the Lord for prayer gives you opportunities to receive other types of information, like about your physical health. And in my dream, I keep forgetting this, but in my dream, I was addressed as the healing doctor. So this is the beginning of my mission. I'm dealing with people who need healing. But I'm not there to cry for you. I'm just there to give you practical advice that you can change your life with, turn around and feel better in your body. Of course, if you're a psycho, I will address that as well if it's a psychological thing, like I did yesterday. But yes, I can address many sides of existence, many things. And even the prayer, you would think that's not connected, but I'm seeing everything as a whole. So I'm picking up all the mess from every perspective I'm faced with. Yeah. So yeah, interesting. So it says the head from which all the body increases with the increase of God. So it's just saying that the Lord leads the way and you are part of his body, sort of thing. As long as you're taking the Eucharist. So the Lord is putting his flesh inside your flesh so that you can become more like him. So yeah, it's a metamorphosis. It's a alchemy. Yeah, it is alchemy. But most people don't use that word in relation to Eucharist, which they should, because that's the only alchemy. It's the Eucharist, because that's the flesh of your Creator. And he's the one transforming you. You just have to allow it. You cannot transform anything. You just accept the truth and live it, But if you don't know the truth, you're not interested in the truth, you're not accessing the Eucharist, you'll never get anywhere. That's why we separate sheep from goats. And that's what I'm doing every day at the moment. The theme also has roots in the Old Testament, although not as the specific body of Christ. Don't know what that image is here for. Israel is often portrayed as one covenant people who belong together. And I must expand here, I don't know if I mentioned it or not. Israel is the Catholic Church. I've just shown you a picture with me, with the Merkaba behind me. Israel is the unity between God, spirit, and creature, soul. Okay? So Israel is not a country. It's a union between creator and creature. That's what it means. And it also means where God reigns. Okay? Where God rules. Because God only rules inside people who are part of his kingdom. And to be part of his kingdom, you need to be baptized Catholic and have access to his flesh, which is the Eucharist. So, in a nutshell, that's what Israel means. And people who think Israel is a country, they're lost. It's a lot more than that. It's the Merkaba you're seeing here. Christ is the head of the church. He's obviously the king of the universe. Believers are the members of his body. Yes, but sin will always exist, and your ascension is not direct to heaven. Or I should put it, the highest heaven, it's not direct to highest heaven, and you'll never go beyond the veil. Okay? So you are part of the body of Christ, but you're not fulfilled, and you'll never be completely fulfilled. You'll just have the role that you're willing to work on for all eternity, because that's what the prize is for re-entering the universe. But you have to be without sin to be his equal. Which I don't know if it's possible to achieve. I don't think it's possible, because you have to become me fully, because I am in my ascended form, I am without sin and I go beyond the veil. But I don't think anybody else can do that. I don't know. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everybody will become me one day. When? I don't know. Every member is necessary regardless of how prominent or hidden their role may seem. Unity and diversity coexist. Believers have different gifts but serve one Lord. The health of the whole body depends on every part working together in love. Yeah. There's lots to experience. I mean, once you become galactic from 2030, there's plenty to explore. It's like infinity. That's weird. Right, I had this Israel as a human body. The Old Testament contains several themes that prepare for it. I went into this. What is this? Yeah, it is the corporate. Weird. Don't know why. It is this picture actually. Never mind. So I looked into a few things to do with Israel because there were interesting topics and I wanted to deep dive into it and pinpoint problems and things. So Israel as a human body or as a one piece, one people is a theme, and it's showing up in the Bible a few times. So although made up of many tribes and individuals, Israel is treated as one covenant community. Was the covenant community. Those souls from 2,000 years ago have migrated all over the place and they experience all sorts of things. And in every single lifetime, you have to return to the Lord. It's the same journey every single time on repeat, but with different background, with different community, different language, different occasions, everything's different, and it's unique, completely unique. And every single second of the day, the Lord is testing you. Everywhere you go, whatever you do, you're being tested non-stop. The testing does not stop, not for a second. There's no peace. You're always constantly analyzed with a magnifying glass. Because it's either left or right, left or right, left or right. So you have to choose all the time. You have to make choices, and the good ones will help you go up. The bad ones will help you go down. There's no choice about it. That's what duality is, which is why I'm tired even speaking about it. It's saying here that Israel is often personified as one individual, and they call it God's son, which is interesting. Not begotten son, just son as in partaking of his flesh. So it's a child, child of God sort of thing, you know. So, and then they mentioned God's wife or bride in the prophets, and I quickly decided that's Marian incarnations. So it's pointed at me as part of the Israel's where they should look up to, but they don't interpret it like that. They don't know who God's wife or bride is. They don't know. It's not the human, it's not the people, although there are versions of me, but the wife is only one, which is me, the mother of God. So yeah, there's always a problem trying to explain this to people. And then I reached this thing. They were talking about corporate solidarity, like being one, you know. The actions of one person could affect the whole nation, and the nation shared blessings and judgments together. For example, Joshua 7, where Achan, I don't know how to read that, sin affected all Israel. So you can go and research different roles with God's people, priests, Levites, judges, kings, prophets, and the people all had distinct functions that contributed to the life of the nation. So to expand on this concept, I will add that the Lord's covenant moved with the ark, which is Mother Mary, across the borders and to Rome. So now the Catholic Church are the chosen people. Um, and Nicodemus was told that he has to be born again, meaning born of water, meaning Catholic baptism. And he was told that 2,000 years ago. So imagine the knowledge he handed over to one man who was supposed to be smart, but he confused himself by saying, "How can you be born of your mother again?" It was like, so the Lord always speaks in metaphors and symbols and things like that, and nobody understands him. That's why I have to translate everything, and it takes like 5 billion pages to say something. The Orthodox Church is part of the Catholic Church, and they will be incorporated and be one as they were 1,000 years ago before they split. That's a big theme because obviously these are souls, but they believe things that are not true. So we have to eradicate the lies from them so they can be whole again. So the Merkaba flag is the Catholic Church, not the people who live in Israel. Israel at the moment is built on Masonic funds. That's why they will be flattened in the World War III, which is in 2038. So if Israelis wish to be part of the covenant, they must be either, I thought something was missing here, Catholic or Orthodox, but baptized. I said Orthodox. How do I put this? I'll take it off. Because I found out there's 2 types of Orthodox. So they have to be Catholic baptized if they want to be part of the covenant, because it moved. The ark moved. It's in Rome. 100. I was taking notes here. I was thinking about it. How many Catholics are in Israel and stuff like that? Not many. Compared to. And then I said, notice corporate. So in the text here, corporate solidarity. I thought, that's an interesting way to put it. Being one people. But it made me think of corporation, because the reptiles, the Nephilim, the Freemasons always use biblical things to twist them and reintroduce them to you as something else. They create the canvas, which is concrete cities. They bring you in to promise you money, but you're a slave and you work for corporations, which is slavery, because you live from one day to another instead of knowing how to grow your own food and whatever. At least you understand nature, but at the moment people don't even call for rain. Completely distorted reality. So I decided to go into corporation, the demonic mimicking the Bible. A corporation is a type, because corporation is kind of like being organized, being together, right? But it's coming from the Bible. It's a Bible thing. It's a Bible concept. So it was divine, but they distorted it to make it demonic and feed it to you to make you want to have it. And I'll show you how they manipulate you in corporations, in that environment specifically, and how they take your money away. They steal from you all the time. A corporation is a type of business organization that is legally recognized as a separate entity from its owners, which are called shareholders. This means the corporation can own property, enter into contracts, borrow money, sue or be sued, and continue to exist even if its owners change. That's the key, folks. The owners change. Why would it change? It was created so that owners can change, and so that somebody can actually rip you off. And I'll show you how. Why is this a profitable demonic concept? Because humans are pushed into creating it for its advantages, but they never think that the overall goal is for the Freemasons to overtake them and use their assets and rule the world. So what they always do, they wait for the right time when the fruit is ripe. That means your corporation is established, thriving, blah, blah. And they steal it by attacking wherever the weak spot is, because they want what you have. Because if you're making money somehow with your corporation, they want to take it from you. They will have it because they know how to do it. They know how to push your buttons because you're just human. They're higher consciousness than you. So they will use all your problems to get through to getting what they want. So the Freemasons, Nephilim, Nazi, reptiles, same thing. Devil, I should have said. Devil race. Snake race, yeah. Do take their time to analyze everything in depth before they take action. They know what they're doing because you don't think like them. And they're not going to teach you how to do it. You have to join them, which means you have to be a Freemason and you have to swear that you will be killed if you betray them. You will be killed. It's normal. It's what they do every day. They kill people. They set the foundations of the cities. They created the demonic laws. They attracted you to populate their demonic ecosystems. I called it in quotes because it's not a real ecosystem. It just pumps things from outside, it brings them in and creates garbage, but it's not. A real ecosystem refreshes itself. It's kind of like pressing a refresh button and it's new again. But what they create is just destruction. So every part of the planet where there are deserts, there used to be cities there. But because they wanted something new and fresh and more evolved, they left the dump and moved on to a new place to destroy, right? So wherever you see deserted place with nothing, dust, that was a city thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago. It doesn't even matter when, but they do that all the time. Yeah, so there shouldn't be any deserts on a planet. Why would you need a desert? What for? A desert has nothing, so it's definitely destruction there. Yeah, so it's not a real ecosystem. A city, for example, they've never been. They were created by them to destroy and to enslave you. So they use you as slave workforce. They provide tools and opportunities for expansion. Obviously, you're making babies for them as well, because original sin is designed to serve them, the devil. And it's not just the first sin that you're committing against God, it's the fact that you are born of sinful generations and your DNA is downgraded already. So by the time you create your child, they'll be even more sick than you are. And you don't even know what sick means because you're so sick, you've never known the meaning of sick. Yeah. So, so they provide everything. It's like they make you create the canvas. They don't do anything. They just boss you around. They say, hey, you want to build a city for us? You make money. But you're just building a Nazi camp. So it's also they can have what you have after these finished products. So that's what corporations are for. And it's not just the cities, because even a city is a corporation, by the way. But it's like a finished product, something they can consume, something they get pleasure out of, something they can boss around, something they can rule over. The Lord does not rule over a Nazi city, a concrete city built with pipes underneath. So what the Lord's trying to do is give you his genetics through the Eucharist so that he can pull you out of this hell and show you through his mother, because I'm the teacher. He's not going to come and teach. He's done with that. Moving on. So I'm supposed to teach you how to live life like a normal person again. So when you're on the new earth, you'll start from scratch. There'll be no pipes on the ground, no tap water. That's why I'm telling you, move off grid now. Have your technology, move at the bottom of a mountain so you can live. Many people will just die of starvation, okay? And there'll be war as well. So there'll be many bad things coming. And if you're not preparing now, you're screwed. And I'm telling you and telling you and telling you, repeatedly telling you, I'm flooding the earth at the end of 2029 to wipe out Nephilim. which are reptilian hybrids. So if you're in the city, on the plains where it's flat and becoming a desert, that will disappear. Doesn't exist on the new earth. It's water. It's a different plane of reality. So I'm bringing you to a higher plane of reality together with the Lord. But I'm the one in charge of flooding. And it's not me, the human me, it's the Arcturian version of me, which is the most advanced creature in the whole freaking universe. You can't even imagine the power I have in my original form because it has nothing to do with you. You've never experienced it. So I said here that reptilians are just experts at stealing from you. They just cheat on you. They just tell you crap to make you feel impressed and important, and then you fall in their traps. Simple example, imagine 3 people start a software company. If they form a partnership, they may be personally responsible for the business debts, blah, blah. But we're interested in cooperation here. So if you form a corporation, the business becomes its own legal entity. If the company owes money or is sued, the owner's personal assets, such as their homes or personal savings, are generally protected as long as they follow legal requirements and don't engage in fraud or similar discount, which is completely different from the corporation, right? I'm just giving you the basics of what a corporation is. It's a separate entity. Advantages of having one, but these advantages are for the Freemasons. So whenever they tell you there's an advantage to having this, it's because they've already planned how to steal from you. So they're just guiding you in their trap. So protects owners from most personal liability. No one cares about the owners in the Masonic world. So you don't actually exist. They just want your stuff, your money. That's exactly what I said here. I wasn't even reading it. But this is the sell point. Your safety as original investor, which is pioneer. So every time they make somebody follow on their footprints, you will be a pioneer walking after them because you find them to be your leaders. So you agree with their concept. So you create what they want you to create, which is a corporation, right? Corporations do not come from the Lord at all. That's not how the reality works. Makes it easier to raise money by selling shares. Okay, Masons will buy it. Or them. Whatever. Can continue indefinitely regardless of changes in ownership. Why? Why did they create it like this? Because it's their creation, their baby. Masons will be there to overtake it. Okay? Those are pre-planned. They give you good points, but actually the good points are that they can sneak in and take it. May appear more credible to investors and lenders. Wow, guess who these people are? They're Masons. They're Freemasons. The investors are Freemasons. Lenders, Freemasons. And they only create more debt for you, or they chip in to help you in a way by being investors. But actually, they want a lot more from you in return. But you don't even know it. So you don't know the background of all of this. They planned it way ahead of time. And it has to be so perfectly formed that when you fall in their trap, everything falls into place for them. It's like a domino effect. Oh, we got you. So it's a trap from start to finish, hence the unfinished pyramid on the American dollar. The whole structure is built by removing you from the all-seeing eye, which is the eye of providence, the guide of humanity, the queen of heaven, Mother Mary, which is me. People think that's God. No, it's not God, because God is not a bottom-up triangle. Never was. It's me. I'm the creature that has all the power the Lord can give to a creature, right? There's nobody above me. So there's nobody above me. It's just the Lord. So yeah, you don't even know what the Eye of Providence means. It's Mother Mary. So they talk about disadvantages of having a corporation, more paperwork and regulatory requirements. I'll tell you why the paperwork, guys. It's so smart. They need you to fill in the paperwork so that they stay informed because they read your paperwork. They read it. They know everything from you. They know your insides. They know your guts. The papers go to the Freemasons' office. It gets distributed to their henchmen, analyzed, and then summary is fed to the higher ups to make decisions whether they take your baby or not. I'm talking about corporation here. That's what the baby is. So whatever you created, whatever mountain you want to make of money, they'll want a piece of it, if not all of it. But they will choose when they do it and how, because they're smart, and there's always they can always create laws, new laws, to trap those who don't want to be trapped, and they're smart. So there's always new stuff going on. That's why lawyers are so highly paid, because they have to know stuff that is up to date all the time. They have to know all the garbage the Freemasons create, because the laws are actually Freemason. Higher cost to establish and maintain, because someone has to be paid for all the work the Freemasons do. So the cost just to have a corporation is more costly because of all the work involved, but it's not for you to make those money. You're paying it to whom? Freemasons. So it's coming out of your pocket and going to the henchmen. You're paying their salary for doing their work to actually know all the insights, all the ins and outs of your business, so that they know, hey, can we deal with this? Can we have it? Is it going to be fun for us? Is it going to make us profitable? And stuff like that. So it's all built by the Freemasons. Every single structure that belongs to finance is them, nobody else. So they own the place. And they actually want to ascend to the new earth as well, because there's new opportunities and it's a more paradisical planet. Like I said, more water, so there's no deserts, more islands, so easier to kind of control, probably, because when you have continents and countries and regions like that, they can be difficult to take over. But if you've got like little places, they're easier to take over because it's a smaller area and stuff like that, so you can focus on having it. But it's a higher realm, so it's divine, and it's part of the universal expansion of God. So they're not allowed there. That's why the Lord has to come and banish them, because they do want the new earth. And they're going to get angry when I'm resurrected in 2038. And that's why they're starting the World War III. But the Lord is allowing it because it has to be an end to the whole drama, so they can be punished afterwards, because they will have been killed good people as well. And that's where the punishment comes from. And also the thing. So it's so complicated. Hopefully you understand what the foundation is, Catholic Church. And then it says, in some jurisdictions, profits may be taxed twice. What? Once at the corporate level, and again when distributed as dividends. Again, because they need you to pump money into their work, so that their Masonic offices are sustained by your expense. It is all free for them. So all the money you have to pay for, they don't pay for anything. They receive it from you and they run their business behind the doors, behind the wall, and they see you. They're like a fly. So yeah, this picture was AI generated. I just wanted a corporate environment, luxury kind of setup, and they put acquisition, and I thought, perfect. And a creepy little concrete city, perfect, because this is what it's all about. Whatever they create is never going to be good. But you think it looks nice, but it's actually disastrous. none of you are aware of how to survive. You don't know how to grow your food. You have nothing, because if this place will be flooded, right? So where are you going to go? Nowhere. That's it. Goodbye. End of the story. Okay, so then I went into more Jewish stuff because it was interesting, and I wanted to portray the difference between wilderness tabernacle, which is like mobile, you piece together, stay there for a while, and then you go away. They're in the desert, which is funny because the Lord had to build their genetics. They were given the manna, which is the Eucharist, which is what you have on the right here. So it's the same Eucharist as the Catholic Eucharist. They were receiving already through Moses' presence. Moses is actually Mother Mary. And they were introduced to how to do things before the Lord arrives. Okay, so they had sacrifices that were temporary. That's why there's like a burning place here. And then when they settled in Israel, they had a real temple built out of actual stone, which was a new beginning. But because they were taken over by Freemasons, everything changed, and the way the place was run became demonic. So the Lord was not impressed. That's why he was angry with people selling things in the temple and stuff like that. And the fact that the Pharisees were hiding the true knowledge from other people. So yeah, I just wanted to have it portrayed by the AI to see the difference in like building. And yeah, it was interesting. There's not much else to say except that they can never be building another one until he returns. And they do not accept the Lord, because I studied a little bit more about their concepts and who's been guiding them. They had a lot of Freemasons guiding them, actually, unfortunately. And they've not been able to receive the new covenant. Unless, obviously, souls are born all over the place. And if they deserve somehow, because they're kind people, the Lord will give them a better opportunity to be born elsewhere and have to be introduced to the truth, So it always depends on your soul, what you do in every single circumstance. And you can't believe that the same people that were there in Israel 2,000 years ago are still there today. Some of them might, but some of them, not all of them. So yeah, interesting. So I was talking about influences from Freemasons, and I spotted this one. My goodness, when I saw that compass. Oh, Freemason, 100%. So I'm going to go through it and tell you what I'm seeing in this picture. So the word Orthodox, Jewish Orthodox, and the straight to whose glory? Because the word Orthodox means straight, ortho, and dox, glory. So I put it together and thought, because when it comes to Jewish Orthodox, it's not the same as the Orthodox coming from the Catholic Church. I didn't realize that until I studied it today. So it's very confusing. That's why I'm going to stop using the word Orthodox completely. I'm not even talking about it anymore. Because the Orthodox Church coming from the Catholic Church, when they split 1,000 years ago, they believe and they have the new covenant. The Jewish Orthodox do not have the new covenant. Why are they calling themselves Orthodox? I'm telling you why. Because of the word translation. That's it. That's all they have in common. There's nothing else they have in common. They have in common the Old Testament. But the Jews don't understand the Old Testament either. And I've proven it already today a few times. I was like, no way, they don't understand anything. You can't accept the Old Testament and not accept the Lord and the New Testament. It's not possible, because that's a contradiction. because the New Testament is built on the Old Testament, which proves that those who reject the New Testament also reject the Old Testament. So the Orthodox Jews are space cadets. They don't understand anything. They should never be called Orthodox, because the Orthodox means the straight, narrow path, the straight path to glory. Glory to glory, like the Lord said about my journey. Glory to glory. Yeah, that's what it means, Orthodox. But it's a word translation. You have to understand what it means. Otherwise, you associate yourself with it when actually different opposing types of people are using it, so it's confusing. That's what duality is about. Everything is dualistic on this planet, and it's so irritating, you have no idea. So there are two types of Orthodox out there: the ones who come from the Catholic Church and believe in the New Testament, and the Orthodox Jews, who call themselves Orthodox due to the meaning of the word, but they do not believe or own the New Testament. They're against it completely. Instead, they are guided by Freemason dude. And he's not the only one, by the way, because I found a second one. So every century, there's one guiding them. Every time the Freemasons think they might awaken, they send another one to brainwash them. Okay? So here's this dude, Freemason, called Israel Ben Elazar. And I came across this and I didn't understand what was wrong at the time. It was like 2-3 years ago, because I was listening to the Jews talking and I was trying to understand them. And I could pick up my identity in what they were saying, but they didn't know it was me. They didn't know about Mother Mary. And I thought, how can they not know that? This is why. It's the Freemasons guiding them. And they've been coming and going every century. So this dude was also known as Baal Shem Tov. And then I picked up Baal because I studied this like a week or two ago. And I thought, oh my God, I'm connecting so many dots. And I can't even share the whole thing because it's taking so long to dig out and create like proper sentences so I can talk to you. Otherwise, it's all stored in my head and I understand it, But Baal means master and used to be referring to God. But it was distorted because look at it. The Freemasons are using Baal. Okay? But you can imagine what kind of master this dude was if you look at his teachings. And I had to analyze the teachings because every time I find somebody who is a teacher that kind of looks creepy, because this guy's obese. Can you tell he's obese? I can. Look at his sausage hands. That's an obese person. And a compass, which means Freemason. So it's not a joke. There's no joke here. I'm not joking. Nobody holds a compass like that on purpose to be painted for history's sake, It's the Freemasons do it. It's their signature. So every time I find a teacher that's kind of wonky and I can tell from the picture, it's so quick. I recognize things from a mile away now. I just go to AI and say, compare this guy's belief system with Catholic Church. And it gives me the summary. It's so quick. I don't even have to dig. I'm just going there and telling them to compare. So this is what I was given. Jesus is not accepted as the Messiah or divine. Judaism continues to await the Messiah. Thanks to this guy. That's what he's feeding them. Obviously, he's a Freemason. God is absolutely one, also known as Shema. The Lord is one. The Trinity is rejected. And I'm going to tell you how stupid they are. Even though it represents God as mind, body, Jesus, and spirit, which is the upside down triangle, they reject the Trinity, which means they will never ever live to see an incarnated Messiah, which is God in flesh. Who do they think the Messiah is? It's God taking form. They're waiting for the Messiah because apparently for them it never arrived. Yeah. So for them, Messiah never arrived. And they never received the new covenant, of course. It makes sense, doesn't it? But they believe there is a Messiah coming to save them. How is he gonna come for you if you do not believe he can take form? Because you do not believe in Trinity. The Trinity implies Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So, because they don't understand the inside of everything, they're just rejecting it on plain sight. It'll be like, oh, we don't believe in the Trinity. But they don't even understand what it means. It means that God is taking form. That's the second stage. So Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Mind, body, spirit. We are mind, body, soul. He's mind, body, spirit. Because Jesus is actually God. And we're not God. So we're different kind of, we're creation. So we're not a spirit. We'll never be a spirit. Spirit is infinite and is perfect. The soul is not infinite and is not perfect. And it will never be. But because they're rejecting the Trinity with a simple statement, they're not accepting the Messiah either. Because the Messiah is incarnated God. And that's the second persona of the Trinity. So yeah, very frustrating. The Hebrew Bible, Tanakh, is scripture. I don't know why it says that. The New Testament is not regarded as sacred scripture. So yeah, what they believe in is whatever they have, but they'll never look at what Jesus brought. You know, because there's no Trinity to them and there's no Messiah. So it all revolves around the same rejection, you know. Here's God taking form. We're going to ignore him. Okay, well, there's no salvation for you then. Of course, there's no Eucharist for them, even though they received it in the desert through Moses. And they're celebrating still with that. They still make that. Where do I put it? And they still make the it's kind of like a flat bread. Do I call it that? I don't know what to call it. I forgot the word for it. But it's the manna. It is manna. What's the word, man? What's that? 375. Okay, let me go back. Because it was a specific word. The bread that doesn't have sin in it. Anyway, so it is manna. You can call it manna, but obviously there's I'll talk about it later anyway. What else? Mary has no role in Jewish theology or worship, even though, well, nobody worships me, that's for sure. I'm just a helper. Even though they believe in the Torah, which talks about Lady Wisdom, because that's the Old Testament Torah, okay? So they accept the Torah, but they don't accept the Torah, because the Torah speaks of Lady Wisdom, which is Mother Mary, which is was the guide to King David and Solomon. So how can they say they accept the Torah? They don't. It's all a lie. Everything they say is a lie. The whole thing. And they never understood anything. So moving on. They're so messed up in the head, you have no idea. They literally understood nothing. They're completely confused. And the Lord said that he's done that to them because they rejected him and crucified him. That's why. It's a punishment. It's a divine punishment. So do be afraid of God. That's what I can say. Because he's justice and you've never been just. So you can never even preempt what he can do to you. I know that people want to see him as a fluffy bunny, but he's not. He's just perfect. 267, purification after contact with the corpse. That was interesting because the Old Testament has it. And that was created to teach them about the Lord's power when he comes, because he was never affected by anything like that. So yeah, it was quite interesting. So I'm just going to read through. The commandment concerning purification after contact with the corpse is found primarily in Numbers 19. Okay, I didn't even go there. It's just too much information in this episode and it was all new. I'm just trying to get through it. Anyone who, so biblical, according to Torah. So yeah, there you go. Anyone who touched a dead human body became ritually unclean. And they have a word for it too. For 7 days. 7! That's important. Why? 7 earths. 7 temple menorahs. Menorah. 7 times genetic upgrade for humanity to evolve and return to heaven. So 7 is important because of all of this. And you need to understand there's underlayer for everything. So this habit of understanding that you're not clean if you touch a dead person has nothing to do with biology. It's to do with the fact that it's symbolic. The death is symbolic to being in sin. It's not just symbolic, it's actually real. So when you die, it's because you've been in sin and your body stopped working. But the 7 days are explaining to you that if you wish to return to God, you have to survive the 7 earths as well. 7 floods. 7 floods. And that is what humanity had to go through. And the next flood is at the end of 2020. And so this is physical, but it's also spiritual as well. And most people will never understand the underlayer because everything's like preparation for more. Okay? And this is from the Old Testament. So this was kind of like explaining where you come from and where you're going. You come from 6 previous earths. And you had to survive them, survive the flood to actually be worthy to even be on this earth. And you have to survive the 7th flood to be on the new earth, which is part of heaven. Okay? So that's what the 7 days mean. Because being in contact with a dead human body, it's to do with being in contact with reptilians. Because they're the devil and they're not actually part of the heaven. Okay, so you're in hell right now. So being contacted with the dead human body is the same as being in hell, which is where you are right now. So you had to go from touching a dead corpse to 7 days of purification or something like that, which is the equivalent to serving the devil and then going through 7 earths of mutations, genetic mutations, which is 12,000 years in total to actually resurface into the heaven, which is so complex and nobody understands it. I'm pretty sure nobody's ever caught this because how could they? So this ritual impurity was not a moral sin. Well, there you go. They're already programming you here. They're telling you it's nothing to do with moral. Well, it's symbolic for moral sin. So you have to see it as an underlayer, something that you might not pick up. It was a ceremonial state affecting participants in Israel's worship. Yeah, whatever. On the 3rd and 7th day, the person Third. Look at that. Every time you see number 3, that's divine. So something to do with the divine there. The person was to be sprinkled with water mixed with the ashes of red heifer, which is cow type. After washing their clothes and bathing, they became ritually clean again. What does the ashes of red heifer symbolize? I'm just gonna erase that because it's useless. The red heifer is a symbol for Mother Mary. Ashes, symbol for dying to yourself, killing the ego. So do you see, this is all symbolic, but they don't understand it. They used to do it, but they never understood it. I don't think so, because if they did, they would have connected to Mother Mary now, but they're not. They're denying even Jesus having existed, so yeah, they don't know anything. After washing their clothes and bathing, they became ritually clean again. Yeah, it's a ritual, but they never understood anything. Or if they did at the time, maybe, but now they don't. The purpose was to restore ritual purity before entering the tabernacle, or later the temple. Their own bodies are the tabernacle. Okay, human body is the tabernacle or temple of God. So God lives through you. And all of this ritual was symbolic for the fact that you have to be cleansed over 12,000 years of living on 7 different earths. So you can resurface into the heavens. Okay? Why did this law exist? The Torah does not explicitly explain the reason. Oh, really? Well, how come I understand it? Jewish and Christian scholars have offered several interpretations, including to emphasize the holiness of God's dwelling place. Okay. To distinguish between life and death, which entered the world through human sin. There you go. It's kind of good. To remind Israel that approaching God requires ritual preparation since the temple was destroyed. Very vague. Nobody's actually putting the dot on the I. Moving on. I don't like the scrolling on this. After the destruction of the Second Temple, about 7 AD, the ritual of purification with the ashes of the red heifer can no longer be performed because, hey, there's no Mother Mary in their story anymore. That's why. The required temple service is no longer in operation. Hey, whose decision was that? Jesus. They were trampled over by who? Romans. Well done, Romans. The Romans have the tabernacle now and the Eucharist, and they understand it. Jewish people don't. They lost everything. Every single little thing they lost. They lost the Mother of God. They lost Jesus. They lost their temple. They lost their red cow, which is me again. They don't understand the Passover. Nothing. Everything's beyond them. And that was the Lord's punishment for them. Okay? To this day, they do not understand. They do not accept the truth. So, in traditional Judaism, it is generally understood that everyone today is presumed to have this form of ritual impurity, which mainly affects. My cat is snoring. Laws relating to the Temple Mount in temple worship. Catholic understanding. That's something else. The Catholic Church does not observe this ritual law. Of course not. We evolved. Catholics believe that the ceremonial purification laws of the Old Covenant were fulfilled in Christ. which is true. They don't do heifers anymore. Nobody's chopping animals and burning them. Or probably they're just burning them alive. I don't even know. In the New Testament, Jesus touched the dead. So we're moving on to bigger topics here. The things Jesus achieved that Jews never accepted. Ever. To this day, they do not believe that the Lord arrived. He came and went. So he touched the dead, such as daughter of Jairus and the bear carrying the son of the widow Nain, without becoming defiled. Instead, his touch brought life. Christians understand Christ's death and resurrection as overcoming death and opening access to God. Therefore, Catholics may care for the deceased, attend funerals, and prepare bodies for burial without any requirement for ritual purification afterward. Obviously, that implies burning a cow. Ordinary hygiene may be appropriate for practical reasons, but there's no religious requirement to regain ritual purity after contact with the corpse. So, see, this is what the Lord has done. There's no need for any rituals like that anymore. No one's killing anybody anymore just to exist. You just go and get your Catholic Eucharist. Done. What more do you want? That's the flesh of God. What else do you want? There's nothing else. There's nothing of value in this universe except his flesh. That's it. That's all you need. And then this is 2 verses. He took her by the hand and said to her, Talita kom, which means little girl, I say to you, get up. Apparently, little girl or a little lamb. Yeah, I did say this below. Little lamb. He called her little lamb. It doesn't have to be little girl. Little lamb. How about it? That's cute. Immediately, the girl stood up and began to walk around, and she was 12 years old. And this, they were completely astonished. That's from the Bible, New Testament, yeah? Obviously, the Jews do not believe in the New Testament, so they'll never know of any resurrections, unfortunately. So she was the only daughter to this guy, according to Luke. Jairus was a synagogue leader, a respected Jewish official responsible for overseeing the local synagogue. But it depends, because the Lord does not do things for people at random. You know? So he was serving a soul he knew will understand him or will not block him, because he warned him, don't be afraid, just believe. So that's what he told the father. Don't be afraid, just believe. Because it's outside the box, resurrecting a dead person. She became gravely ill and died before Jesus reached the house. Jesus took her hand and said, wake up. She immediately rose and walked. So that's what happened. More about the context. Jesus had gone to the house of Jairus because Jairus' 12-year-old daughter was dying. Before he arrived, messengers announced that she had died. So yeah, he told him, don't be afraid, just believe. Because this is one of the most important things. Fear will block the Lord. I should say that. Fear blocks the Lord, which is why he told me to not be afraid. Like yesterday, for example, I was thinking to myself, this guy might punch me in the face because he was drunk and he didn't actually have the whole story. He didn't even know why he was there. He was just talking nonsense the whole time. Swear word after swear word, blah, blah, blah. And when I thought to myself, he might punch me in the face, I thought, a thought came to me and it said it's not going to happen. I had no proof for it, and it didn't happen either. So that was good. But do not be afraid, because as soon as you're afraid, it can happen. You can manifest the fear. So I kept this one as well because it was important. It seemed important. When he reached the house, Jesus entered with Peter, James, and John. That was it. The three. The upper three. Right? And they're below me because I'm above them. Girl's parents, so she had a mother as well. Taking the girl by the hand, blah blah blah. So translations: Talita, little girl or little lamb; Kum or Kumi, arise or get up. She immediately came back to life and began walking. Significance: Jesus demonstrates authority over life and death. He touched the dead, which under Mosaic law would normally have resulted in ritual impurity. Instead of becoming defiled, Jesus' holiness and life overcame death. That's a big deal because he's demonstrated to the Jews that he has power above a human. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why he did it. Because they didn't believe him to be the Messiah or to have powers or to anything. That's why he kept showing things that were in line with what they were supposed to know, supposed to understand, supposed to be able to interpret, supposed to be able to accept, but they didn't. The miracle points forward to his own resurrection and the promise of resurrection for those who believe in him. Obviously, not physical resurrection, by the way. People don't know what resurrection means. It means that your soul will no longer be in hell, which is where you are right now. So your resurrection is of the soul, not the body. You can't be resurrected with your body unless you're without sin. And Mother Mary and Joseph will be resurrected in the body because they are without sin, because they are Mother Mary without sin, right? But that's unique. That's unique in the history of the universe. And whoever else was resurrected was because the Lord had to prove that he's fulfilling the law of Moses by showing them practically that he's God. And they never concluded anything, right? Which is sad. The passage is one of the 3 gospel accounts in which Jesus raised someone from the dead before his own resurrection. So he already had power. He already was God. The other being the son of the widow Nain and Lazarus of Bethany. There you go. So he did 3 resurrections and then he resurrected as well. What more could you possibly need? And the Jews were blinded completely. Next. Jewish, that's the word. I couldn't remember it. Unleavened bread is the Catholic Eucharist. You could call it flat bread, right? Related concepts in the Torah that provide the background for the New Testament practices. The Jewish mitzvot, includes commandments about eating unleavened bread during Passover. Unleavened bread is the Eucharist. But they didn't know what they were doing. And they're not accepting Catholic Eucharist because they think it means who knows what. But they were already being prepared to accept the Lord. But they still didn't, Unleavened bread holds several distinct meanings throughout the scripture. Haste and obedience. In the Old Testament book of Exodus, God instructed the Israelites to eat only unleavened bread during the first Passover. Because they were leaving Egypt immediately, they could not wait for their dough to rise. And there's more symbology there, symbolizing instant obedience and readiness, meaning just pretend it's a bread and eat it and shush. The bread of affliction in Deuteronomy 16:3, it is referred to as the bread of affliction, serving as a tangible reminder of the bitterness of their slavery in Egypt and their total dependence on God. It's like they've gone through so much stuff and they still denied God in the end. Unbelievable. So I'm just portraying the unleavened bread. It's just a flat bread, I guess. Symbol of sinlessness in the New Testament, because the Lord is in the New Testament, the Lord is rewriting history in a way by showing that He is the bread without yeast, the bread, the body without sin. So he's God. So He pointed to Himself in so many ways, and the Jews never got it. I mean, Moses got it because Moses is Mother Mary, and He's incarnated again and again and again forever to help humanity ascend. But everybody else that was supposed to understand never understood. I think everything's quite complex, actually, because you have to understand the way the Lord is manifesting things to me right now, because I'm not reading the Bible. I'm not studying like everybody else is studying. I'm studying topics really deeply. And I never expect what I'm finding. It's like, what is this? Like today I went from one thing to another. It was crazy. And I couldn't even expand too much because I didn't want to get lost in it. But yeah, I picked some of my favorite things. So this one, unleavened bread, never heard of the word unleavened. I didn't even know what it meant. I had to look it up because English is a second language. So yeah, I had to look it up. It's just like a flat bread that doesn't rise and stuff like that. But I'll tell you the symbology later as well. There's more symbology. It's this yeast thing. Yeast. Symbol of sinlessness in New Testament, yeast or leaven. So it's leaven as well as unleavened, right? So to leaven, it means to rise or something like that. It has yeast in it. And that acts as a metaphor for sin. Who knew that? I didn't. I never heard of the word, and I never heard a connection. So bread with yeast is a sinful bread. It speaks about a person who has sin in them, somebody who's demon possessed, like the people from yesterday. There were such catastrophes. So it's a metaphor. That's why the Eucharist is a flatbread. It's something that does not rise. Even a tiny amount spreads to corrupt the entire loaf. Interesting. So you can't put yeast in a unleavened bread, which is what they celebrated with, right? They were reminding themselves of their afflictions. And it's the Lord's affliction too, because He had to give His flesh for you to have the unleavened bread, which means it's a symbol for being without sin. So He is extending His perfect self to you and gives you His genetic as God so you can get out of hell. That's what the Eucharist is. He's holding it in His hand. And who understands these things? You know, who's making these links? Who's thinking it through? I couldn't even think this through because I never heard of any of this stuff. But I had to do the research and find it, understand it, and put it down on paper for you. So it's all here now. Therefore, unleavened bread symbolizes a life of sincerity and truth. But that sincerity and truth expands into being God-like, which is Michael, which I talk about all the time because it's me. Mother Mary, highest Seraphim. Me. I'll do. Right, so the only person that has ever understood everything completely and has done the Lord's will is Mother Mary. That's why she's the Queen of the universe. I forgot to say Queen of the universe. That's quite important. Christ's body, because it is pure, incorrupt. Jesus used unleavened bread during the Last Supper to represent his own sinless body, which was broken for humanity. In a nutshell, right there. There you go. That's the essence of today's lesson. If you never knew. Right. So there's the Lord waiting for you to have your Eucharist because it's free. You just have to become Catholic through baptism, of course, which apparently takes 20 weeks. I'm not trying to spook you, is what I was told. You have to study the books. And if they tell you come back next year, we can talk about it, you say, no, I want to start now. I want to start now. How about now? I was able to override everything they told me because the Lord made me aware of my Orthodox baptism from birth was a true baptism, because the Orthodox Church in Romania is part of the Catholic Church because they came from it. And the Catholic Church is from Rome, and the Rome has the Ark of the Covenant. They have the keys, the priesthood. And that's how it all works. It's the Lord's church. There is none other. And his flesh is there, and I'm eating it every day just so I can upgrade myself and think straight, because it's required. It's so hard to be me. It's like I'm in the dark, but I do want to come out of the dark, so I'm trying. Next. Oh yeah, mind-heart coherence. That's where it's coming from. The Lord's flesh. It doesn't come from anywhere. It's not an exercise you do. It's not listening to music. It's none of that. None. Removal of the Mother of God and the Son of God by the Jews. So I looked at their history here a little bit, because I was reading through their mitzvah, which are don't know how many rules that God gave them, hundreds. I forgot how many. I just deleted all the details because I didn't want to look at it anymore, because they didn't understand anything. They have so many rules: how to eat, how to sit, how to wash, how to blah 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 blah, but they don't believe in God. They never believed in Jesus, you know, so they missed the whole point. The whole thing, they missed it. So because one of the rules was do not plant Asherah trees. I thought, what? Asherah is a goddess. That's Mother Mary. It's me. What do they mean by not planting me tree? What does that mean? And I kind of understand, because I'm one of the olive trees. The two olive trees in the Revelation are me and Joseph. So I kind of linked that with Asherah trees, which means kind of like, because the Lord was crucified on a tree, right? Wood, cross, tree, same thing. Because I'm like him, I'm Mikael, I'm associated with wooden pillars and wooden statues and wooden Asherah trees, you know, because the trees also metaphorical for being kept safe, being under somebody's mantle, which is me, Mother Mary's mantle. Okay, mantle, because I didn't think of it before. I was trying to think more associations, but I couldn't think. So yeah, Asherah trees, a mantle, protection, mantle, protection, mantle of protection. Oops. Which is Mother Mary. which is the two olives tree, or the two menorah, temple menorahs. Okay. This is all Jewish. But it's me. I'm right there, but they can't see me. They're blind. So they have these rules. They believe in them because it's from the Old Testament, but they don't understand them anymore. They don't know what Asherah tree, because in the past they had rulers, kings that were Freemasons, and they told them to destroy all of this, and they believed it and they did it. So that was foundational for losing track of who they are, their identity, because every time the Freemasons erase your past, with your help, of course, you have to agree with them, you no longer have the divine with you. No protection, no Asherah tree, no mantle of protection, you know. I explained here she was considered, because I googled it to see what Google says about Asherah. She was considered a symbol of life, seeding of truth. These days they call it fertility. That's why, because people don't understand, they connect it to original sin. But fertility is actually seeding of truth, expanding the universe of God's creation. That's what fertility means, expansion of God's creation. Abundance, the bridge between heaven and earth. Oh my goodness. Did you just say rainbow bridge? Yeah. But no one's connecting the two. It's only because I've done so much research. My head is spinning already, just thinking about how much I know. So when trees are mentioned, they can be interpreted as people. And then I discussed St. Padre Pio, because that was my literally past life. The last one I had before this one. St. Padre Pio is a Mother Mary incarnation, who is Asherah, and who is me. And I'm telling you where this story comes from, because he was seen as a tree, and the Lord explained the meaning. So it's all legit, and it's Catholic. So I'm connecting Jewish tradition. Here we go. Connecting Jewish Old Testament / Torah with Catholic Church. Because I talk a lot, so you might get lost. So I'm taking a break to write it down. The vision or dream of a great tree representing Padre Pio originates from the recorded mystical experience of his early spiritual daughter, Lucia Fiorentino, which means Roman, right? So I'm from Italy. In her 1906 vision, later clarified to her by Christ, he intervenes. Why? Because it's foundational for ascending to heaven. I am foundational because I am the baptism with water. It's a symbol of me. It means you're in a covenant with me. Because the Lord could not save you when he came, so he created a final way to be saving you through me, because I'm the queen. He was the queen, rejected. The king, he was rejected. And then he brought the queen in, just in case you accept her. But obviously nobody is connecting the Catholic baptism with Mother Mary. Only I am, because I know it's me. I'm the water goddess. I'm the one flooding the earth. It's all about water, and I'm inside the water. I am the universe. And the universe is inside ether, which is water. It's a liquid. So it's symbolic of me, because I am above the whole creation. Everybody in the universe is a lower version of me. And that's why I can guide you, because I've reached the top of the mountain of God. And I'm actually sitting on the throne as well. I'm not just at the top. I'm sitting on the throne. And apparently the throne is the Lord's throne. He's sharing it with me. So that's why I'm the guide of the whole universe. Because somehow I just did the Lord's will, and the Lord did the Father's will. So it's all linked. So if you're following in the same footprints, you will get to the same place. you get to the throne. So this woman saw an immense, well-rooted tree by the Capuchin friary in San Giovanni Rotondo, symbolizing a future priest whose protective shade, mantle, and spiritual strength would reach across the entire world. And it did. People coming from everywhere. Some were poor, some were rich, some were filthy rich. And they still came to him because he could see the future, he could read the soul, he could extend the Lord's forgiveness, and so on. He could do healings, he could do all kinds of stuff. So while folklore sometimes conflates this with an oak tree due to standard tree symbolism, historically accounts specifically note an elm tree, which was interesting because I never actually looked up the symbology for that. But now I have it here. In Piana Romana, where the Padre Pio actually prayed and received his first stigmata. Wow! Can you believe this? What's with this stigmata thing? It's a sign that he is the mother of God. Oh boy. Sign. But nobody understands that he is the mother of God. And I've showed you pictures I generated with the AI that Mother Mary has the stigmata as well as Jesus from being crucified. Because Mother Mary is the queen and she has been crucified together with the Lord through the fact that she had to walk in his footprints, and she achieved it all in a quantum state. That's why she's crowned, not because he's the mother of God. No. That's what Catholics believe, but they don't know the details. Suffering. Lots of suffering for a good cause, and it's not anybody's cause except God's cause, and he's the one who gives and takes. Common symbolism of the elm tree. Strength. Elms are large, sturdy trees. I've seen one. Amazing. It's not like this one here in the picture. They're huge, actually, and they're balanced. They're like perfect trees that can live for centuries, symbolizing endurance and resilience. By the way, all trees are made to live for centuries, but everything has been edited by the reptilians. They've taken down trees and planted new ones in the wrong place, and that's why they don't live. Protection, they're broad canopies. That's what I was trying to say. Broad, they're quite broad. They're huge and wide, tall and wide as well. So kind of like giant trees. Broad canopies provide extensive shade, making their symbols of shelter, refuge, and care. What did I say? Mantle. Yet again, same thing. Dignity and nobility, apparently. Historically, elms were planted in town squares, estates, and long, grand avenues representing honor and civic pride. Right. Community. Their spreading branches have made them symbols of gathering, fellowship, and connection. That's perfect. That's exactly what it is. The God's family. Stability. The deep root system represent being firmly grounded through life's challenges. Good. Grounded. I tried to ground the priest that was bonkers, and he refused me. The Lord told me to kiss his feet. I don't think I presented that yet, but it's half typed up. So much work. Yeah, he just didn't reply anything about that. So he didn't get grounded. He refused me 3 times. So unfortunately, he's not coming to the new earth. Goodbye. Hope and renewal. Many elm species regenerate after disease or damage. Regenerate. Wow, that's a good word. Symbolizing recovery, perseverance. That's a good one as well. Wisdom. The longevity has associated them with accumulated knowledge and maturity. Wow. This is so perfect. That's exactly what I am. Spiritual symbolism. Don't know why I split them. In Christian context, an elm can represent remaining rooted in God, providing shade and comfort to others through acts of mercy, standing firm in faith despite hardship, bearing quiet witness for a long, faithful life. Historical associations. I keep splitting the text the wrong way. Okay. I'm almost done. I'm dying here. In Europe, especially Britain, elms often lined roads leading to churches, manor houses. They became symbol of continuity between generations. They're lost to Dutch elm disease. Guess who invented that? The reptiles. Because the symbolism was known, and it was divine, so they deleted the trees. Anything that has anything to do with disease is not part of the Lord's ecosystem. It's not created by him. It's created by the Nephilim, the reptiles, the devil race, the Freemasons. Okay, so their loss to Dutch elm disease in 20th century also made them symbol of remembrance and restoration. Right, don't know how. Did they come back to life or something? In art and literature, the elm is often used to represent quiet strength, home and belonging, memory, protection, the passage of time, enduring love. So it's all relevant. This is all just divine concepts. Did Israelites ever worship Asherah? Because it was associated with the tree. So I'm back to the goddess, which is Mother Mary. Yes, the Old Testament repeatedly stated that some Israelites adopted this practice despite repeated prophetic warnings. The prophetic warnings were lies. So it was nothing prophetic about them. It was just the reptiles telling fibs to humans so they don't connect to Mother Mary anymore. Kings such as Ahab promoted such worship, while reforming kings such as Hezekiah and Josiah removed Asherah poles and other objects associated with idolatry. It was not idolatry. It was not idolatry. It was protection against the demonic through Mother Mary. Okay, because that's what Asherah is. So these dudes did a good job of removing Mother Mary from Jewish people. They're fake kings. Fake kings. Okay. Reforming kings such as these guys removed Asherah. And I said here, I smell reptilian Nephilim infiltration, which was true. I was right. Because I'm pointing out the contradiction in the words in the Bible actually now. So, in Kings, he did what was right in the eye of the Lord. So he's talking about this fake king. So it's a positive statement here, enforcing himself in the eyes of people who read. He removed high places, broke the sacred pillars, cut down the Asherah. The Asherah is also a symbol for tree of life. Just in case you didn't get it. So they took Mother Mary down because she represented life. And she was helping people. So as soon as you forget about it, you forget about it. Broken in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses had made. Moses is Mother Mary again. And now I'm showing you what the bronze serpent is Jesus. This was so cryptic, but I don't know how I got to the bottom of it. I just had to keep asking questions to link. And it fell into place. I can't believe I achieved it. He trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel, for he held fast to the Lord. He did not depart from following him. This is a 3 times lie. I just said that because this is a fake king here. Where do I put it? It's a faking statement. Fake king statement. A Freemason, right? He made the statement 3 times of the same thing. He just repeated the same thing 3 times so that you believe him. He trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. No, he didn't. For he held fast to the Lord. No, he didn't. He did not depart from the following him. No, he didn't. And I'll prove you why. But kept the commandments that the Lord commanded Moses. Really? How is that possible? And I said, complete lie, because the snake on the pole represented the Lord, and that was a direct command given to Moses, who obeyed. But the corrupt king destroyed it. It just told you. In the same chapter. These are literally the continuation of the story. So it's telling you that this fake king, Nephilim, broke in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses had made. Well, Moses was obeying God. And then he said that he kept the commandments that the Lord commanded Moses. How could you say he kept the commandments if he destroyed the bronze serpent? That was a command from the Lord. So there's a contradiction. I put it in red so you can see it right in your face. Don't know if you got this. I'm explaining now what the bronze snake means. So if Moses was given a command and you come and undo it, you can't say that you're obeying the same God. It's not possible. You're just lying to people and they believe you because they're not looking through it. They're not seeing the truth. They're not thinking straight. People don't think straight ever. Okay. Jews destroyed their path to the divine healing because that's Jesus and it's the snake, bronze snake. According to the Hebrew Bible, Moses was asked by the Lord to create a bronze serpent on a pole. The complaint now. During the Exodus, the Israelites grew impatient and complained against God and Moses. Lovely. Just what we needed. Whiny kids. The plague, God sent venomous, fiery serpents into the camp and made Israelites, many Israelites were bitten and died. Okay. Venomous snakes are actually demons, demonic possession, sin. Okay? You don't get attacked by demon unless you're sinning, because it has no way to enter. That's why Mother of God is holy. It means there's no sin, there's no demonic entering her body. That's why I am your guide from the quantum state. I've not ascended fully to heaven, but I'm working on it. So I'm telling you what's going to happen. The healing, after the people repented, God told Moses to fashion a bronze snake and mount it on a pole. Anyone who was bitten and looked at the bronze serpent was healed and lived. So it was all on purpose, folks. He was trying to tell them what's to come. Because the bronze snake was the Lord's demand. He wanted it to be built so that he can save the people. It was made and it saved the people, right? But then in John, the Lord in flesh, God in flesh, is explaining, because This part here is from the Old Testament. So it was telling you what's to come in the future. It was telling Moses. So God was telling Moses how people will be healed through the serpent on the pole, a wooden pole, right? So in John, which is the New Testament, when the Lord was with them and explained everything, every symbol, because they had to understand it. Otherwise, there's no way of promoting the Lord's good news if they didn't understand it. You know, you really have to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's not going to sink in with anybody. Because you have to be able to answer questions. If people come to you, what are you going to say if you don't know anything, you know? So in John 3, just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must be the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life. So he was predicting his death, as well as linking with the Old Testament and Moses and what he did. Because Moses listened, because he is Mother Mary. And it was the whole thing was predicting the future. Again and again. So in the Old Testament, it was predicting the Lord's crucifixion. And then in the New Testament, the Lord was already predicting again his crucifixion, but from a new perspective, explaining what Moses did, you know. He took the sins of humanity upon himself in order to transform it into eternal life. Because the snake used to be a symbol. Snake used to be a symbol for sin equal demon equal reptile equal snake. Well, it starts with snake. So that's what snake meant. So he took that symbol and turned it into a good snake sort of thing. Because the good snake will be resurrecting people, not biting and killing them. Okay? The good snake, the bronze snake, is the new snake. So the new Adam. Wow, good one. I didn't even think of that. Bronze snake equal new Adam equal Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Right? He obviously gave me this, otherwise I don't have a brain of my own, so it's all from him. So the bronze snake is the new Adam, which is Jesus, which replaced the old snake, which is the reptile, which is the Freemasons. Masons. It doesn't fit. I wanted another word. Masons. There you go. Nephilim. I could add that. Okay? So that's what he did. This is alchemy. Alchemy. He's transformed the whole garbage, the whole of turning hell into heaven. But you have to follow the good snake. But you have to follow the bronze snake, which is Jesus, right? So you have to turn around from the deadly snake, which is the reptiles, and embrace the bronze snake, which is Jesus. I don't know why bronze. Maybe that's the metal they had there. I'm going to search quality of bronze after I'm finished. So he took the sin of humanity upon himself in order to transform it, that's metamorphosis or alchemy, into eternal life, eternal ascension, new human race. So he's the new Adam, introducing the new human race into the universe. That's why it's so important to be an alien in space right now, so you can watch the human race being reborn. That's why there's 1,000 ships behind the moon. Everybody's watching, everybody's using their special toilets. They don't have toilets like ours, which is funny. They don't have to use toilet paper. Their toilets create these bubbles of soap that go under their bottoms. So stupid, the whole thing. And cleans them. I don't know how that's possible. So they don't have to wipe. Isn't that funny? That's the Pleiadians. Yeah, never mind. So he himself bore our sins in his body on the tree, that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. By his wounds you have been healed. And then another one, he poured out his soul to death and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors. Yeah, because he was without sin. So somebody who was perfect had to come and reverse the demonic. Because when he said, do not eat from this tree, he meant it. Because the tree he allowed to eat from was his flesh, his kingdom. The other tree represented the demonic and hell. But they ate it. So that's why they descended to hell. And here we are. We are in hell. This earth is part of hell. That's why we need to bring you up to the new earth. But if you're not Catholic baptized, you can't stay, even if you do reach it. Because you're not part of the family. We're not keeping anybody who doesn't want to be part of the family. The Lord's family. My family. So, yeah, king and queen. The Davidic dynasty. If you're not baptized Catholic, you're out. So Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. To save from what? The reptiles, because they will be on the new earth, but they have to be banished. Because guess what? They will try and kill Jesus. And that's the end of the story. Because I was shown that moment last year. I was walking with the Lord and he had his red cloak on, which means royal. So maybe crowning just took place, which is my crowning. He's not being crowned by anybody. He's crowning me. And that's what the wedding is about. That's the wedding. Is my joining with him as a soul joining spirit, meaning I am the guide of humanity. And the wedding feast is just eternity, because the feast means feasting on divine knowledge and ascending the ladder. But that takes eternity. You'll never reach the end. So that's what the wedding feast is about. It's just you acknowledging that you're in the living universe and now you're serving God and you have to do what he says. The venomous snakes, reptilians, Nephilim, Freemasons. Jews having followed obediently the corrupt Nephilim kings and removing Asherah, which is mother of God, and the bronze serpent of wood, which is Jesus on wood, God incarnated as the Messiah, they rejected the resurrection of their souls. That's it. End of the story. So I'm explaining to you what all this symbolism is. It's just removing Mother Mary, removing Jesus from their past, just because some reptile king told them to, and they forgot everything. They never even understood anything if they actually were obedient to do that, right? So let's see what symbol for bronze is, because I have no idea what bronze is. Why the bronze? What metal turns green? It's not bronze, is it? It's something else. So I don't know what's with the bronze. So I'm just going to do a quick search here with the ChatGPT. And my internet's not turned on yet. It will take a few seconds because I run on phone internet. So let's see. Master Nemesis, that's me. And now this one will refresh. And we can look up why bronze. Maybe it's just the metal they had available, but the problem is the Lord never uses just whatever. It's on purpose. So something is on purpose here. Why did God... It doesn't mean there is an answer here, but I'm just looking to see. Why did God ask Moses to use bronze for the snake? Today. That's a bit slow. Oh, because I didn't press new, so it's trying to load a picture. Okay. Too slow. Let's try and open another one. Nice. This is taking way too long now. What did I say? I said new. Oh my goodness. I could have done it on Google by now. Why did God ask Moses to build the snake out of bronze? It doesn't mean it has the answer. I'm just trying to see if it might have the answer. It might connect to something, because usually it does. It gives me like a lead somewhere. Okay. It's just telling me what the Bible says already. Not why the exact metal. Unbelievable. It's skipping around. So the Bible does not explicitly state why bronze. Okay, common themes, commonly understood. Looking at the bronze serpent was an act of trusting. Nah. Right, next question. Bronze symbolism. I'm sure exists something. It's usually the next thing I do. Judgment. In the Bible, bronze sometimes translates as brass. Oh, that's interesting. Brass is cheap, isn't it? In all the English Bibles, is a rich symbol. I mean, its meaning comes from how it was used in the tabernacle, the temple, and prophetic visions. Ooh, okay, we're getting somewhere. Judgment. Bronze altar. Wow, didn't know that. Where sacrifices for sin were offered. Fire consumed the sacrifices on this altar, making bronze closely associated with God's righteous judgment against sin. Exactly. So transforming hell into heaven. Right. Bronze altar, bronze serpent. Bronze often appears where sin is judged. Gosh. Strength and endurance. Hard, durable metal that resists corrosion. Okay. I like that. Strength under pressure. Endurance, stability. Bronze pillars of Solomon's temple. Wow. Didn't know that. Bronze weapons and armor. Goliath armor. Okay. Yeah. That's exactly it then. Purification. Many bronze furnishings in the tabernacle were exposed to fire. Why? Oh, because they were burning offerings. There you go. So that's the connection. It's just the fire. The fire purifies metals, so bronze can symbolize purification through God's refining work. Yes, in the Bible was suggested it was gold that's being refined, and then I came across silver being refined, and now it's suggesting bronze is being refined. Um, hmm, interesting. In prophetic visions, bronze often represents God's righteous authority. Ezekiel, his appearance was like bronze. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Fiery, I guess. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in furnace. Wow, interesting. I don't know what that looks like. It's like it's not golden. It's kind of like pinkish, isn't it? Um, victory over sin and death. Yeah, that's it. That's exact. Oh, from Catholic perspective, the bronze furnishings of the tabernacle and bronze serpent are understood as foreshadowing Christ. Yeah, but that's not explaining why bronze. Yeah, I think we got it, didn't we? Strong metal, resistant to burning, impurities, all sorts of things, and it's just judgment, strength, endurance, purification, God's justice. So victory over sin and death. Yeah, exactly what the story portrays actually. What does I'm gonna make a picture